Good morning, Squadron. Welcome to the On Time, On Target morning brief for today, Monday, September 21st. If you're joining us on replay, thank you so much for checking in. We are a group of investors that get together in the morning. We talk about both long-term investing and short-term investing, and we also do some day trading right around the open. And more importantly, I'm here to answer your questions. What you don't see is we have a question and answers chat room open, as well as a pure chat room open for people to converse back and forth. It's not just me talking. All right, new setup in the office here today. We'll probably be working some lighting issues later on because I don't like what I see today, but we will press on with things. All right, the rest of it will be a fighter pilot brief in the morning. Mission objectives are going to be grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Tactical objectives we're looking at today are big banks and fraud, particularly because there was a fraud headline out this weekend. A couple of the banks are getting crushed. As far as investing in banks, it has really been a house of pain as far as trying to make money in the banking space recently. So I'll show you some numbers, show you some companies, and tell you that there's only one bank out there that I trust, and we'll pull up that chart and take a look at it. All right, as far as question of the day, some stop trading triggers. I just wanted to review those, not that I expect the whole market to limit down like we did back in March, like every other day it seemed. But to talk about individual stock market triggers, I did not find the exact answer that I was looking for, but we can talk about the answer I did find and go from there. And reason why, Nicola, the chairman, stepped down this weekend. Obviously, that stock got hit by like 30-some%. Generally, that will trigger a stop trading within the stop. And here in the room, we've seen independent, companies out there hit these stops both up and down during the workday. So a lot of things they're doing the market day. A lot of things for us to take a look at out there. Nicola's down 30% or so on that news. All right, so we'll talk about that more later. For the flow of today, we're going to go long, short, open, short, long. What that means is we're going to take a look at the market headlines around the world. Obviously, some big headlines of this weekend. And then come back to the U.S., talk about what's important in the U.S., and then go into our day trading. Once we get within 10 minutes of the open, we'll take a look at our long and short list for our particular gap and go trading strategy. I have two names that qualify going long since the market's going to open down. And I stopped writing at around 30 on the short. So we won't take a look at all those. Primarily looking for volume and the particular catalyst that is going to take that particular name lower. So expect for us to look at three shorts for the day trading. You can go ahead and get set up for that. All right, let's see. We'll execute the market open. We'll get out of day trading mode, back into long mode, and look at the question of the day. If you have any issues out there, contact me at steve@ototnow.com, and we'll be able to get your tech issues resolved. And the standard disclaimer applies. This is an educational presentation, so please do your own due diligence before taking action on anything you hear this morning in your own portfolio. All right, let's take a look at the TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. Again, you home gamers have the Think or Swim if you pull it up. But basically, when you take a look at where we've been in the past year, we're focusing a lot on the negativity recently, but really you'll hear me talk about reversion to the mean overall, and that's what these trend lines help with. We're breaking down the bottom of a trend, but really when you look all the way back over, we're back to where we were in the January-February timeframe. So a lot of that, and especially if you took advantage of this, which we took a huge advantage of it along the way, is the nice climb up that you've benefited from. There's some profit taking here. We also have the election coming up. So expect more red days. I will start putting out videos if I feel sufficiently nervous about it. So far, no. Just basically we've moved to safety in a lot of the portfolios. I do expect a sell-off, and as you've seen, any sell-off out there also brings opportunity. So while your portfolio might be in the red overall on a daily basis, all those stocks are moving down. Again, we're going to re-wicker things, buy some stuff that's been hit low, buy low. That's what we're trying to do. And the only time you can do that are times when the market gets hit. So not overly worried yet, kind of expected a sell-off. We've got more downside going into the election. The whole Supreme Court justice thing and battle that's about to kick off probably will not help inspire confidence either. So, okay, here's the last 5 days in the SPY. As you can see, kind of hanging out up here last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, we gapped down lower, but traded up on the day. And then Friday kind of sold off. So I was thinking Friday might be this huge sell-off day. So I was staring at it like, whoa, this could be a big issue. But there was some good news in there. I can't remember the exact headline. But yeah, came back up and kind of chilled out going into the weekend. This weekend, a lot of bad news. A lot of people worried about the Supreme Court thing. So, red morning. We'll see how it all plays out. I'm not calling an epically red down day. I think a lot of people are going to turn around and buy right into this. I am not, but a lot of people will. All right, as far as earnings, it's a Monday, so really nothing to report on earnings. Nike's probably the biggest earnings this week. I would expect them to crush earnings. If they don't, that's going to be a consideration out there. All right, and that's how we'll have our charts set up for day trading when we come back to it. Let me share out the screen to CNBC, and we will take a look at around the world markets. First of all, in the U.S., I'll refresh that here for you. So we were down 500, then 400. Now we're back down to 600. So pre-market, it's going to meander, if you will. And again, those are all Dow numbers. When you look at it, though, it's kind of interesting. The Dow is down more than the S&P, and that has not been the case recently. The tech shares have gone lower. But the names this morning, out of the 30 that I have written down, they're not really your big tech names. So tech names are kind of holding up in all this, which I like because we're obviously heavy invested in tech across the board. So, all right, let's take a look at Europe. A lot of drama in Europe, and also Deutsche Bank led the headlines as far as the bank and fraud stuff. You'll see that in the headlines. Banks down 6% when you look at right over here. Yeah, that's a big deal. You can't have your banks and financial institutions, doing anything out of the, what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, that's just, you can't do that. So evidently that has been done, and it's not good for everybody. That's a name we'll take a look at. So pretty big hit across the board there. All right, over in Asia, not a significant move. Hong Kong down a couple percent, but really your two bigger markets here, nothing going on. These are our numbers from Friday. Boom, volatility pop, right? Called it, if you will. VXX didn't move up all that much, but it moved up after hours some. If you're going to go long, if you're like, I don't like shorting, or you only have an IRA open where you can't short anyway, if you're to day trade, VIX long, VXX long is, again, the play. I wouldn't hold it overnight. Just take what you get out of it during the day. But those are big numbers, not real huge numbers from Friday, but it could have been a lot worse. All right, let's take a look at the bond market. Down a little bit, down to 0.65% on the treasuries. Again, you had the Fed last week saying lower for longer. They're saying at least 3 years. I'm calling a decade. I think money is going to be cheap, and that's going to cause a lot of drama in the markets, so stay tuned. All right, oil this weekend held 40, even though it dropped across the board. That's not, it's fine for now. When you see that, gold and silver are also selling off along with the market, that tells you one thing, that the money flow is to cash. So people are selling, they're profit taking. So cash does not stay in cash forever, so it can come rearing back. We saw that in March when everything sold off. There were no safety triggers, but it all came roaring back. So that's kind of the good news when you see everything selling off at the same time. All right, back to the U.S. headlines, and let's see what we have here. We're on a 3-week losing streak, but it doesn't seem all that concerning. It probably is if you're staring at it every day. But for me, managing the money, I am not as concerned, basically because we had the huge V-shaped recovery. It's like, sure, we're going to start the leak going into the election. If we do a simple leak, i.e. the next 5 to 6 weeks going into the election is just, 1% or 2% down, that adds up to maybe 10% down from here. That's really not that big of a deal going into the election. It would be some form of headline news or a health concern with either of the candidates, or I don't know what, you don't know what the headline could be, but something could take it down a lot more significantly than that. All right, Tesla Battery Day is tomorrow. Now, the hype around Tesla, and so let's talk about Tesla and this Trevor Milton. Remember, he's the founder of Nikola, that it was the chairman who stepped down this weekend. Last week, if you remember, a short seller came out and put all kinds of terrible things out about Nikola. and how it's overhyping and they haven't really built any of the trucks or any of the stuff that they said. All that is true. It has been a hype machine. So we kind of got busted, and I think the facts are going to flow out of Nikola as to what really they can and can't do. Now, why do I relate that to Tesla Battery Day? Tesla's really the same kind of thing. They talk about all kinds of fantastic things. They're not they're profitable, and Musk said they're setting up for the best quarter ever. But there's a lot of hype and hyperbole that comes out of Tesla too. But Battery Day has traditionally been a big move up in Tesla, so we shall see. All right, Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan are two of the names we'll look at. Suspicious funds, so we'll dive into that a little bit. Okay, Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg passed away this weekend, so a longtime member of the court. Whether or not you agree with her policies, you certainly have to admire her for the trend setting that she did, and paving the way really for Trump already said he will name a female nominee to the court. So her legacy kind of lives on past her. So we shall see how that works out. That's obviously going to be a political football. I expect the headlines to be, if you remember the Kavanaugh confirmation hearings, other than being Saturday Night Gold, it basically dominated the headlines forever. And I would have to imagine whoever we pick he said he's down to 5. I would imagine it would be who's the most squeaky clean person we can put in front of everybody for the confirmation and go from there. So we shall see. It'll be interesting. If he makes the announcement by Friday, that puts us off into the confirmation hearings into the next week, and drama. All right. This was out of Europe and kind of caused the big sell-off over there. We'll see if it comes into our markets. But basically, there's some talk of increasing coronavirus numbers again. It's been kind of a non-event here in the U.S. as far as kind of putting it behind us, if you will, at least in the news cycle. And, sporting events are going, increasing crowd numbers at sporting events, increasing talk of vaccinations, increasing turnaround timelines on testing. All that's kind of trending in the right direction, which is what the market's like. Not in Europe. They got a couple of big spikes in numbers, which got everybody concerned that they're going to have to shut down again. And that would have an effect in the United States, no doubt, if Europe started taking a hit. All right. Yeah, cruise lines are all off 5% basically on that news. So here's the Europe likely to see further lockdown. That's kind of holy crap headline. If they really are going into lockdown mode again, that's going to be a big deal. All right, ByteDance, the big TikTok headlines from this weekend. Again, let's see, Oracle and Walmart are going to be your two major players. I've heard Oracle's at 12.5%, Walmart's at 7.5%, and that ByteDance is going to retain 80%. However, Trump's already blowing up media this morning going, no, that's not true. U.S. will be at 53% ownership. So there's obviously problems with the math. We'll continue to follow that story. I don't see that as a tradable headline, but it is kind of interesting. Emmy's out last night. If you follow that sort of stuff, I haven't seen Schitt's Creek, but I've heard it's pretty amazing. If you like pure power plays, watch Succession. It was amazing. All right. Don't see anything else jumping out. Snowflake got a downgrade. That's likely to be my short of the day. So if you want to start setting up SNOW, again, downgraded to an outright sell on day 4. So I would imagine that is the case. All right, let's go over to FinViz, where, I look at all of my different stock things. So this is Deutsche Bank again, DB again, from fraud allegations, excuse me. Over in Europe, you can see that the banks overall, and you'll see this is horrid on the other, when I bring up the other names, big hit, obviously. The concern isn't coronavirus. The concern isn't closed lobbies or, anything that really affects a bank. The concern is the collapse of the financial, the economy, collapse of the financial system. That's what we saw in 2007, 2008. And if you remember, I mean, we were bleeding for months in that time frame. You know, when you look back in the rearview mirror, that was the buying opportunity of the decade. So, you know, it's not fun while you're in it, and I don't really hope for the next one to roll along anytime soon. But that is literally when you make a ton of money, is during these big sell-offs. So, you know, had the big sell-off, kind of tried to pop back up and been really leaking ever since. Some of that's with concerns with inflation. A lot of it's the low interest rates. You know, that affects all banks. If we keep that reduces their net interest margin, which is the difference between what they pay you for holding your money and what they get for loaning that money out to other people. They can't loan it out as much as they want. So again, that's really been tough on the banks. So you can see, yep, there is a short float. I bet you there's going to be more short flowing up today based off of the news. And let's see, don't really see the headline there, but certainly it's making a CNBC. All right, let's go over to the Schwab Street Smart Edge, and we'll look at a few more banks before we switch into, oh man, can't get snow out of a TDA. You know, that's where we're talking about the short trading thing. If you see Berner's comment there in the rejected by the stock loan system, TDA is not a real, neither Schwab, a super big trading platform. They're not like TradeStation, right, which holds shares for just this purpose. So I may switch over to a TradeStation or an Interactive Brokers, something like that, to get into some significant. That way, they almost always have shares, because that's a big deal for them. And TD Ameritrade, they're kind of like, man, we don't have it. Don't worry about it. That kind of sucks. All right, so we are over on. We're talking banks. So here's your Deutsche Bank chart. It's actually not really as bad as the other charts on here. Here's JP Morgan. I consider them best of breed. Again, it's JP Morgan Chase. If you're going to own a bank, own this one. Otherwise, don't bother. There are some regionals out there that are interesting, but other than being interesting, that's about it. So 140 down to 98. You talk about hedges. I have covered calls up here at 140 for the next year, which will probably expire in the money, right? I don't think it's going to come screaming back anytime soon, but you can see the challenges that JP Morgan has had. When you look at some other names out there like HSBC, dear Lord, look at this chart. Been losing money since the beginning of time, it looks like, right? So this is a year ago, they were at 44. They're down to 19 and just rocking lower. So obviously don't touch that. This is Barclays, went from 9 down to around 350, up to 7, down to 5. Again, don't touch. This is Lloyd's Banking, not Lloyd's the insurance, but just Lloyd's pure banking. Again, continual sell-off, nothing but doom and gloom. If you wanted to own them all, which I wouldn't recommend any of them except for JP Morgan, you can go into the KBE. Well, switch out of that to DraftKings. I like the way I think, but KBE is what I'm looking for here to show you this chart again. Bank's not coming back anytime soon. So long term, is that going to change? Probably not till interest rates go back up, because the banks are getting squeezed here. So consider. All right. Let's take a look at our short names. We'll put snow in here first since we're talking about it. See what the action is to the downside here. 157, so it has the volume 240 down to 226. When you back, there's not much of a chart to back out because it just started trading. Remember, it IPO'd down here at around 100, which is what you're not seeing. That first trade was like up at some crazy amount. Or it was around 100. I can't remember exactly, but U.S. Snowflake falls. The first Wall Street rating is an outright sell. That's not good for them. So price target 175 is what they're saying. So I know you can't get it, but I do want to at least talk about it for those that are in the room that can get it. All right, let's look at 3 longs first. Again, the VXX is the only one that that's what I would do on a day like today. So here's where we closed on. So here's Friday's action. So again, remember the market dropped on Friday, and and volatility goes up, ended up a little bit, and then of course volatility is a lot higher this morning. So you can go long the VIX if you don't like any of the shorts I come up with. Oracle's along on the news. Million shares 59.62. Again, this is on the TikTok news. There was some number out there that said that TikTok was going to have 25,000 American jobs. I don't see how that could be even possible. but not really. I don't think it's enough to be able to override the negativity that's in the market. So I wouldn't take it long, but it certainly qualifies. And then the other one was CRMD, was an upgrade. I don't know what Cormadex is. Low volume, 460 up to 510. Once you get above 5, mutual funds can own you. So maybe if you wanted to take this as a long, initiated with a buy at Truist is what you see down here at the bottom left. So, all right, that is it for what we're going to look at in longs. Just show you the chart on NKLA real quick. Backing this out, obviously battleground. So IPO'd, went up above 100 if I remember right, all the way back down to the 30s, back to 46. I mean, it's been all over the map. So 34 down to 25. Could it continue to fall? Yeah, I've got a whopping, I think, 5 shares or something in that somebody wanted it that I have to get the permission to sell now. But yeah, I'm going to blow out of that name. We may come back later if it was down in the teens or something. Or they actually build a vehicle. Shocker. Let's wait till they actually build this Badger that you're talking about. Remember, they merged with GM last week, so GM has to look like the dumbest person in the room, right? They just merged with this company, announced this huge, wave of the future, and then the chairman steps down amidst fraud allegations. So not good. See how it's affecting GM stock. Plenty of volume, 31 down to 30.50. I could see it hitting this stock a little harder than that. So we'll come back and check that out. All right, let's look at our 5 to 10%. DB is the name. Let's look at this. 139 down to 836. This has plenty of room to run to the downside because it's broken all resistance. So we'll take that as a look. There's our probably one of the shorts we'll take a look at unless I find something else. Plug PLUG. It's got the volume 1356 down to 1285. So it's really just down here. So it's got room to fall too. Didn't catch why it's selling off though. So don't have a headline to go with it. So likely not going to take it. Not a super strong name. Let's look at Kodak. Remember, these are guys, they've been cleared of all wrongdoing. So the stock popped up last week. 12.11 down to 10.20. So they have room to fall. I think this is just profit taking. So I like that. KODK. So we'll take a look. Eton, I don't know what this is. ETON. Pharma name, down 7%. Low on volume, so we can pass on Eton. UEC, down the dollar range, pass. ING. Don't have a headline that qualifies for the short, though. Lots of congestion in there. I don't really like it. Let's see. BCS is Barclays. It's off 6% or so. So $5 down to 474. So it's sitting here right now. So that could sell off hard. We'll have that pulled up as well. Snow we talked about. THC got a downgrade. I don't know what THC is. Tenet Healthcare. Low volume, so nothing to do there. Bud got a downgrade. So gapping from 57 all the way down to 54. It would have the volume. It doesn't right now. So pretty decent fall there. I like the name though. I think there was a merger. I don't see any headlines, but there was a merger concern out there. Tops TOPS. Don't know who they are. Let's take a look. Top Ships. Down at $1. We don't want any part of that. All right. That's it out of my list of 30 names. Let's take a look over here real quick. There's Nicholas sitting it down 27. Making a note real quick on how I want to set up the charts. Probably going to go Nikola, looking at this first, Nikola, and then Kodak, or DB, and then Kodak. Check out the volume. Yeah, there's 7 million top volume. Okay. Apple selling off. That's not a concern. Tesla might go pop up because of the battery day tomorrow. Kodak down 15 now. Have that as my number 3 on my list. CCL, again, kind of like this off the cruise lines. Off of the Europe starting to shut down again, 1531 down to 1430. Putting that down there, CCL. Go with that instead of Kodak as 3, and then Kodak will be 4. We'll switch. All right, in the green names, low volume down to Oracle. Off the headline, then Tesla off a battery day. See if we can see anything off decliners. Illumina, I saw that already went through our range though. Lot of if you look at this whole column, it's almost all trading vehicles, and again, a lot of triple leverage stuff in this here that are playing it. Some of those can be longs actually. You know, they're long. If they're short, they would be in the green if they're short trading vehicles. Same there. Roku up a little. So again, if you want to take a long BXX or Oracle, or about your only 2 that are of interest. Otherwise, let's set up our charts for Nikola, because I want to watch it. We might get an entry there. Nikola, and then DB, and then CCL are how we'll set things up. So sharing you back out to the TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform, you'll see 4 charts coming up. The one all the way to the left. Take these down to 1-minute charts here in a second after we get set up. So this will be NKLA. Don't know if I'm going to take it, but I want to have it there and under the hammer initially. And then DB would be my where I would want to look at. This is the one I'm going to look at first, really, for the short, and then CCL. Probably your safest short out there, because who's going to buy into a cruise line today off of those negative news out of Europe? So that's how they look at it on the 5-minute chart. I'm going to go to the 1-minute chart, get zoomed in here, set up for the open. Again, DB is where I'm looking first. And then we'll look at let's go with this. We'll look at Nikola. If something crazy happens, we might hop in. And then CCL, I think, will sell off through the day. So I actually kind of like this move. Looks like a short covering move going in, and then looking for an entry there. If you get into Nikola at all, you better give yourself a big stop. So let's look right now. NKLA. Be a 40-cent stop. She'd needed to move $1.20 to the downside. DB, you can be a lot tighter with. I'm looking at a 10-cent stop or less on Deutsche Bank, and then CCL, just do that big move up. Going to need we'll probably time with a 30-cent stop there. All right, welcome to the play of the day. We have 4 charts in front of you. Spy all the way to the left so we can watch what's going on minute to minute. On the left screen there, the middle left is Nikola. Again, with the chairman stepping down, these are arguably short. DB in the middle of fraud allegations. Those are, again, for the coming out of Europe. And then on the right, you have Carnival Cruise Lines at their opening bell. Carnival Cruise Lines, just because of the negative headlines coming out of Europe for COVID. All right, let's go ahead and got plenty of volume coming in. Let's go with, it's going to be Deutsche Bank, and it's going to be a 6-cent stop. And we'll go in at 8.34. If it hits it, I'm going to take it. Again, market's in the red, so I expect things to continue to sell off. Look at Nikola selling off. Wow. So again, waiting on Deutsche Bank right now. Again, right in the heart of our envelope, that's 7.8%. Nikola's too far gone, down at 30%. All right, let's go 8.35, and it'll be a 5-cent stop. 8.35 with a 5-cent stop on Deutsche Bank, so that puts us up above the high of the day. Nice big move back up in CCL as well. Look at the volume in Nikola in the first 2 minutes, almost 2 million shares. So again, being patient, reviewing the SPY all the way around. SPY is down 1.4%. NASDAQ down 1.5%, Dow down 1.7%. Not a bad move up in the market. Not getting a whole lot of motion out of DB here. We'll leave that up. CCL, I kind of like it for an entry up in here. Trying to think of where did we enter that. All right. We'll keep, I'm not going to touch Nikola down 30%, so we'll surf around a little bit. My other fourth choice was Kodak. See what happened in Kodak this morning. Down 15%, so I don't know if they have any more room to the downside there. Look at some other names. See what's happening in GM off of these headlines. I'm surprised it's not affecting GM's a little more on their stock. It's kind of a nice move up. Not quite in our zone though. Yeah. That's the entry. I'm not comfortable entering into it though. Still waiting on Deutsche Bank. I'm optimistic we're going to get a trade in here. Keep an eye on it. All right, Plug was another name that was going. Yeah, it was down 7% earlier, so that bounced pretty hard. Such a good name. I can't imagine it staying sold off there. HSBC, another bank. 5%. All right, let's get back into, I'm going to take this at 8.36 with the 5-cent stop, which takes us up to 8.41. So if it doesn't hit 8.36, we're just not taking it. Market's showing a little bit of strength. See what happened in snow. You know, burner set's not available. Opened up at 230. $3 move. Surprised it's not selling off more. Let's move down in Carnival. Oh, that would be the entry, but I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. Still waiting on DB. May not get a trade today. And that's okay. We'll switch back long if it is. Let's look at some other names. See what's going on in the Lecken world. Market showing weakness there. I called what, 836. So 836 looks like we're going to get our trade here for DB. There's 836, so taking that short with the 5-cent stop. So getting the arrow there drawn in the red. So we need to move 15 cents on the day to get our 3R stop. So obviously you want to put the bad stop in first. So we're drawing it up at 841, which gives us plenty of space over the high of the day. So that's why we set the stop there. And then we'll just watch it fall. 831 would be our first R. All right, we're in that trade. I'm happy with the entry on that. Nice and patient. Look at some other names out there. Micron down 3%, JP Morgan down 3%, VTR down 3%. Tesla up. It's the Tesla and LCA are the only things I have, but we'll go around the big board here in a minute. In the green, LCA up 4%. Again, they're going to become Golden Nugget Online Gaming soon. Let's look at the VIX long to see if it's popping up. VXX. VIX up 5% on the day, so nice little move up there. All right, we'll keep the VIX in. Deutsche Bank, we're in that trade. Over here, we'll look at some other names. Energy selling off. Oof, harsh. DraftKings selling off a little bit. They run up so much. That's okay. When you look at DraftKings, this is your, moved up a ton the past several weeks. So yeah, we're down here, what's this, 10 days ago, down at 35. Now it's at 52. You don't have to worry about that sell-off at all. All right, getting back to today. All right, that's about it off of that board. So weakness in the market. Again, Dow down over 2%. S&P down 2%. NASDAQ approaching at 1.8% or so. All right, let's go over to the main screen, see what we have in the green. LCA we talked about, Tesla we talked about, Shell's an EV truck maker. Treasury's on the move up, that makes sense. SPTL, G-bill would be in here too, probably somewhere flat on the day. All right. Long bond, there's a bond fund moving up. SPXB hasn't moved up yet. And then on the red side, Nikola pacing with 21%, DraftKings down 7%, Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Starbucks. A lot of names in the red, hardly any in the green today. All right, let's go back over to our trade. I'll leave our trade up for you while we're talking. No questions in the Q&A room, so go on into question of the day is trading halts. For the overall, so why do they halt trading, right? So we know that computers get in and are programmed to do all kinds of stuff as far as, they take a headline. There's if you have like Trump in China, a headline, the second that thing pops up anywhere on the internet, some computers can sense that and then make trades based off of that. So, kind of very fast moving stuff. Well, when you have a bunch of computers that go on automatic because they're programmed to do exactly what they're going to do, the issue is there's no break in the chain. So that's why if it hits a trigger, whether it's an individual stock, or it's the market overall, like back in March when we were limiting down in the first 5 minutes of the trading day, kind of brutal. And I think it's 7% or so is the right where we start to limit. But when you hit that limit, that breaks the computer algorithm, right? So it stops doing what it's been told to do because everything's halted. So it kind of resets the computers. If anything going forward, I think they're going to pull the limits in. because you don't necessarily need to go all the way down 7% before you know that there's a real issue in the market. There are folks out there that, and you heard this back in March, that we should close the markets because of the volatility. Well, no, that is absolutely, literally never going to happen. And there's reason. The reason why is people need their money. That's like closing the banks and the ATMs and going, you can't get your money. Could you imagine the people that are freaking out if that's the case? If we hit a trading stops for 15 minutes. Whoop-de-doo, you might have to wait 15 minutes. But we're certainly not going to close the overall markets for that. We did do to 9/11. We closed the markets, because it was right there, right? Especially on the New York Stock Exchange. So you hit a trading halt for the overall market, but individual stock names, when you hit individual trades or individual names that move either up or down so much, and again, it has to open trading, and then nothing stops it out after hours. Because when you're doing after hours trading, and that's why nickel was down at 35%, there's not the same volume, and it's all limit orders. You can't do a market order in after hours. So that's saving people from getting hosed over. You cannot do a market order after hours. So if you're in a fire sale, like I got a call back in March that said sell it all as fast as you can. What that means is, sell Amazon, market. Sell Apple, market, and it's I don't care what price I get, it's just get rid of it. Well, if you do that after hours, you can't just dump it with market orders. You have to go in and actually physically put a price in. So let's see, if there are open orders and a trading goes into effect, those orders close. So that's an interesting thing. Like I have a couple orders in for some smaller names. So if you have a order in and you think, okay, it's going to fill me at $5, and the stocks, it falls from $8 to $6, realize if the market gets stopped, it's killing that order. So then if it drops from 6 down to 4.59, and you're like, why didn't my order fill? It's like, well, it got killed. So that's why it's still, that's why it's a safety maneuver in there. The exchanges control that. So remember, you could be listed on the Dow or the NASDAQ, or excuse me, the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. Mostly moves down, but it can happen on the upside as well. All right, reviewing the overall market circuit breakers, and then I will let you guys go for the day, and we'll see where it continues to fall. Look at our trade is in the green, but that certainly hasn't trailed. I would just set the limits on that and leave it cook all day long. All right, the overall limit of the market is 7% as a level 1 move down in the market. That's actually up or down, but mostly associated with down. So 7%, they close for 15 minutes, and then 13% you go to level 2, and then 20% is level 3. So 1 and 2, you close for 15 minutes. If you hit the level 3, you're done for the day. Again, that's 20% in a day. So that's thinking Black, October, whatever it was from 1987, Black Friday, I think it was, maybe Black Monday, I can't remember exactly. But that's when you hit those sort of stops. If it's within the last 35 minutes of the trading day, it's not going to halt. So there are no circuit breakers set in for the last, if it happens at the end of the day, then it is what it is. So, all right. So here we are to recap where we are. Market down big. There's our trade. It's now working against us. Just let it hold. I think staying below 840 is safe today on DB. And that's all I have for you. So thanks for checking in this morning. Hang tight on your overall portfolio. You might see some ugly numbers out there today. But we're going to do what we need to do to navigate this. So talk to you soon. Bye.